The next morning was pleasant, and I could not help but think of how Ben is changing his mental health, and these black-eyed kids are out to get him. He is the most vulnerable and needs my protection along with Arthur and Leslie. So does Maggie, in this case, with her husband. She seemed to become depressed, and our jokes could only do so much to cheer her up during our work shifts. I watched her step outside to talk to her husband, and I said to the others, "Guys, I'm worried about Maggie. This marriage is turning toxic, and I fear for her safety."
Yeah, but Maggie is a tough moss bitch and she could handle it.
I know, but some people can have a soft side.
Oh, bother. I believe that they are controlling him without a doubt, my dear. Believe it or not, at least on my part, from what I visited, at least at their place, since I'm kinda close with Mags, he has some marks on his forehead.
Ben said seriously. I took a look at the blond man with pale skin and feminine lips to see a blackened symbol, which had been an inverted pentagram. But Maggie did not seem to notice the sigil. We observed them further, and their discussion became rather heated. Unfortunately, Herbert, the oh-so-loving husband, had slapped Maggie across the face, to which we had immediately swung the doors open violently and confronted him.
You so much as lay a hand on Maggie, let alone hurt her. You's fight with all of us, you asshole. Mind your own business, boy.
Oh, you're a real big man to hit a woman like that. She said something you did not like or disagreed with you, so you resort to slapping? All just to prove some dominance?
You should learn to fuck off with your improper feminist bullshit.
Slap her again, and I'll chop your balls off and flush them down the fucking toilet.
I will advise to you, Herbert, that law keeps promises and does not simply make threats, and I will assist her in the operation. You know what? Fuck it. I will go get the scissors for this shit.
Herbert seemed to sweat profusely and stammered out,
Get that blasted pastel weirdo away from me.
He paused abruptly to hold his forehead in pain.
Lenore, touch his forehead and give him a blessing. Hurry!
Ben shouted quickly. I took a deep breath and pushed my right palm outward to make contact with the heel of my hand. "I bless you with light and to stop being toxic!" Shouting out my command. Black tar oozed from Herbert's mouth, and he began to cough violently. Leslie hugged Maggie close to console her as she exclaimed, "Ow, why is he coughing up black shit? Is Lenore a witch?"
Not exactly, Toots. There is much to discuss inside, madame.
Arthur said while escorting the two inside. Ben and I ushered a disorientated Herbert inside the store by each arm. We reached the back room and had the couple seated upon chairs. For added comfort, Ben brewed their favorite flavor of coffee, as the rest of us soothed them by our soft voices and assuring that they were safe. Herbert continued to hold his head while grimacing in pain and groaned out,
What did she do to me? Well, you see, that is a violent blessing, good sir.
"I still want to know what the fuck is going on here," Maggie said impatiently. From there, we explained our species and the events that occurred 2 months ago, as well as adding in the details of our relationships. "Is this some TV show I don't know about?" Maggie asked, confused. "No, it's, real life, only less glamorous and uncensored," I replied.
Oh, I would love something like that. If only it were that simple.
"This makes sense now. Lenore's so sweet and Ben's so secretive, but you two don't hate each other?"
No, Jesus Christ, I fucking hate that shit. It's always such a stereotype. Not to mention boring. And it is my nature to punish scum anyway.
No, and he has not done any offenses to me. As a matter of fact, he nearly filed a missing persons report to the police when I was sick recently.
You're really not gonna let that go, aren't you?
Nope, I replied. The entire group laughed at our funny banter. Our heartwarming moment had been interrupted by the sound of loud hooting and children screaming in fright from outside of the gas station.
Oh, pooh. It appears they have discovered Lunar's intervention.
I still want some closure with these little trolls.
You're right behind you on that shit.
The 6 of us headed outside, and armed with weapons. I decided to take an old broom handle, snap it in half with my foot, and have them serve as batons. Ben clutched a bat from under the checkout counter, while Maggie claimed her rifle. While we stepped outside the store, there had been a fight between a giant monstrous bird being subdued by many feral children who acted like angry stray cats. Leslie lit several firecrackers and tossed them upon the horde, having them explode into pink lights with smoky hearts that rose into the air. This action caused them to fall to the pavement and cough violently. We yelled our demands that they leave or suffer to be destroyed, which resulted in us having to contend with 50 of these undead brats. I can describe this battle scene in these events. That when you fight, the situation becomes somewhat of a blur, and you have the primal intention of survival. We fought bravely in eliminating this horde. How they lunged at us with snapping jaws and growling. Few were small and leapt at us, desperately wanting to rip the flesh from our bones. I will give the following details. Maggie dispatched the taller black-eyed children from a distance while climbing up the Winnebago. She has a tendency to shoot between the eyes or the heart with deadly accuracy. Arthur removed a packet from his coat to blow white powder upon them and having the children convert to dust. Ben and I had our fun with bashing in their skulls by our clubs. Leslie seemed to have some glee while continuing to light enchanted firecrackers and choking our enemies with the loving smoke.
Oh, bother. It appears, yet again, you are quite the foolish bird to take on this juvenile army. Stolas.
Arthur scolded. The giant bird had begun to contort its shape as though it were gelatin, shrinking down to a slender anthropomorphic owl dressed in 18th century formal attire and standing 7 feet tall with glowing red eyes. He bowed before us and said,
Many pardons, and my deepest gratitude towards the knights who rescued me. For this act of valor shall you be rewarded.
He removed a dagger from his front pocket and touched our scalps with the blade.
It appears now that each of you are honorary knights of hell.
Stolas said proudly. It was strange considering that I am an angel, but accepted the recognition nonetheless.
You have trained these diverse youths well, Arthur, even having unexpected heavenly interventions.
He commented, while pointing to myself. Is it odd that I am an angel in this group? I asked, feeling out of place.
Oh, no. Certainly not. You add balance to the group, of course.
Thanks, I'm still trying to get to know this sort of thing, I said with a sheepish grin. This is getting more weird. I'm still trying to accept this is real, Maggie exclaimed.
Oh, dear Margaret. You are not hallucinating. Your role will be far greater than just being a simple merchant,
he said, and claimed her hand to kiss the back of it, which caused Herbert to be mildly annoyed.
Now on to more pressing matters. Shall we discuss more inside the premises?
He inquired. We returned to the back room before any more attention could be called to the area by strangers. Would you mind for simple cinnamon rolls and coffee? I asked.
That would be quite splendid, Lenore.
Ben and I prepared the food and drank as Arthur had informed him of the recent events.
But, hold on a moment. You mean to tell me that this dainty woman is the grandchild of Sylvester Stein, the recent bearer of the Keys of Salmon?
Stolas exclaimed. I was confused for a moment and in shock at my grandfather's status, which made my frustration rise again towards him. He does not tell me any of these metaphysical things.
Her grandfather shall be visiting in short order, along with other relatives in tow. I have heard the Stein women are grand seers and fortune tellers. Quite interesting. Oh, she still freaked me out with those tarot cards. Try to look at it at a more unbiased side. At least she tells you the barefaced truth to it. Doesn't lie to your face.
Leslie stuck his tongue out at him while we laughed at his immaturity.
However, I must regretfully inform all of you that Kryla is not the only villain in this narrative. There are 2 others who wish to have revenge on Ben's family as well. These are fallen angels who had been assisting Kryla for the past, I believe you humans say 90 years? That is far more, serious than we had anticipated. But fret not, as Frederick will be helping us tomorrow and wishes to redeem himself. Although, within certain circumstances, it would be forfeit. But he is willing to change, and that is positive.
That was unexpected. What made him change his mind?
It perhaps was caused by your speech and combined intimidation. Each of you are fearsome as King Arthur's knights. I still don't trust him so easily. Something feels strange to me, at least.
Neither am I.
Sadly, I must bid all of you a fond farewell, and return to my abode.
Stolas said. The owl had materialized a plastic bag of chocolate gold coins from its hand and placed it upon Maggie's desk. His form began to fade away before our eyes, indicating that he had departed to hell. Something tells me that on the longest night of the year, we face the ultimate darkness eventually. Why did Grandpa not tell me about all these things? That I had to find out on my own to make my skeptical mind accept it? This is going to be a holly jolly Yule that is certainly fun for the whole family. Sarcasm included.